Yo, welcome to Blues Nation, guys, and it's another week, it's another weekend with Premier League football. And let me tell you, I'm absolutely thrilled by the fact that we are in the Champions League for many reasons, one of which being we do not have to play on Sunday every weekend. Man, was that so difficult for me, and maybe for some of y'all as well. Man, just missing so many Chelsea games because Sundays when I go to church, right? So half the time when we have games on Sunday mornings, like, oh my goodness, I can't watch. So this year, having stuff on Saturdays, I don't even have to make plans on Saturdays anymore. And guys, tomorrow we play, or I guess for some of us tomorrow, for some of us also 2 days from now, depending on where you're at, whether you're in America or England, we play Brentford. Brentford is a match that in the past we may look at and say this is a very winnable match. It's a winnable match, but it's not an easy match. And today we're going to be hopping into a couple different discussion points, including looking at one of their top performers, some squad updates for us, as well as building a lineup together. But before we do that, I just want to say, overall, right, I had mixed emotions about the game against Arsenal. Because as a Chelsea fan for, over a decade, you hate losing a London derby. And in my opinion, especially against Arsenal, when I look at their bench and they have Kai Havertz and they have Nani Madueke, right? And they have Kepa Arrizabalaga and all these different players that, were Chelsea players as well. One of them being the match winner for a Champions League game. It sickens me the fact that we lose them, right? Especially our record at Stamford Bridge is horrid. However, so many positives from that match, in my opinion. The attacking was great. I thought we were the more threatening of the two sides the entirety of the game. The goals they scored, most of them were soft, right? We'll talk a little bit about that when we talk about Rob Sanchez. Anyway, I don't need to ramble on. This isn't a match review of the Arsenal match. However, what I'm going to say is I think we have good reason to look forward and continue to build off of some positives from that game. But before we do that, I want to talk specifically about Brentford, and more specifically, one of their players we have to keep an eye on. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, guys, so we're going to hop over and we're going to look at Football Ref, FB Ref. You guys are probably familiar with it. And we're looking at our boy Igor Thiago. You've probably heard his name thrown around before, even sometimes in links, not necessarily official links, but links that us content creators make for strikers, or at least a type of strikers we would like Chelsea to have. And why is that, you might ask? Some of you, maybe the more casual viewer of Chelsea, probably see a name like Igor Thiago and say, you know what? I don't actually think I even know who this is. Let me move this over for you a little bit. And you know what? That's fair, because he is fairly new to the Premier League. I do believe this is his first year here, and listen to this. This is unbelievable. He's a 24-year-old Brazilian. He's played 21 matches in specifically the Premier League, and he has 16 goals. Can you guys remember the last time we had a striker in an entire season get 16 goals? Because I can't. At least, right, you have to go back to, what, Diego Costa probably? It's been years. It's been years. So this guy is absolutely lethal in his first year. He has, again, 16 goals in 21 matches played, and he has 16 goals. And so that's about 3.5 goals above his XG. So his expected goal output is 12.5, and he's gotten 16 for Brentford. And I was talking about this with my wife because I was actually shocked when I saw this return. And she made the good point of, well, who knows, right? Maybe, because this is true, right? A lot of times we see players who, when they are the focal point for an entire team, they get really a lot of the output. And it's true. He also does have, I think it's 5 or 6 penalties, but nonetheless, even with that, he's still in double digits through a little over half a season in goals. So a tremendous season. So let's look a little bit at his scouting report. Who is this guy, right? These are kind of some of your more heady stats here. We'll look at those for just a brief second. Non-penalty goals, and this is against all forwards basically in Europe in the last 365 days. Okay, so it's not just this season. So non-penalty goals per 90 minutes, he has about half a goal per 90, which is the 83rd percentile. Some of these other stats aren't so great. Like shots, not amazing. Assists, not great. Expected assisted goals, he's about 0.15 per 90, which for forwards is 75th percentile. And then he actually has some good, I don't really know why he's getting clearances, maybe from set piece defense, I'd assume, down here in 96th percentile. But anyway, this is some interesting stuff, but I want to look down here some of the more straight up facts. So per 90 goals, okay, so this is not expected goals, this is not non-penalty, this is all encompassing, non-penalty and penalty. Non-penalty goals per 90 against other forwards in Europe, he is 0.8 per 90, which is the 93rd percentile. Still not great with assists, but goals and assists, he's in the 85th or 88th percentile with 0.85 per 90. I'm not going to go through all of these. You guys see some of these are insanely good. He's very clinical from the penalty spot, so don't give away penalties there. Shooting is immense. His shots on target, 80th percentile. Shot on target percentage, 97th percentile. And then goals per shot, he basically scores every fourth shot that he takes, which is the 96th percentile. So let's hop back off this screen. And why am I showing you guys this? The reason I'm showing you this is because this is the primary character we need to look out for when we're playing against Brentford. He is a bully. He is, what did it say on here? He is 6'2", 190 pounds. He's a big boy, right? He can be a wrecking ball. But I went through and I would recommend you guys go watch his goal compilation video. There's like a minute one on TikTok or something like that. The two words I would use to describe him are clinical and decisive. The reason I say that is because if you look at almost every goal, non-penalty goal he scores, I think it's might be every single one I saw, he scores within one or two touches of the ball getting to him. So some of you might say, oh, that's a poacher's goal, right? That's Fox in the box. Some of these kind of almost demeaning terms for strikers. The bottom line is he knows where to be and he knows exactly what to do with the ball when it comes to him. He does not just dink around, hesitate, all these things that we sometimes see, get accustomed to. He gets the ball, he laces it into the corners of the net. He has complete confidence because he's clinical. He has total confidence. He knows where the ball is going to go. He knows what to do with it. Igor Thiago is the player Chelsea Football Club have to look out for on Saturday. He would be the best striker on Chelsea right now, and he's definitely the best striker on Brentford. So now let's keep moving forward. I'm going to read for you guys a little bit of a squad update from the Standard. I might pop up a little screen clip perhaps. I'm not going to pop up the screen here because it's just an article, so that's not exactly exciting. But I'm just reading from the standard.co.uk. And I'm just going to read a couple things for us here because obviously, right, in the Arsenal game, we were absolutely decimated by whether it be injuries or I hope our boys are okay with Delap and Gittins, but I don't know if they were, having a rough night, if you know what I mean, with the flu or something like that. But anyway, specifically talking kind of about Cole Palmer and Reece James, it says Palmer was initially expected to return to Chelsea training on Friday ahead of potentially facing the Bees. But he and Captain James, it's kind of funny calling him Captain James, sounds like we're talking about Star Wars here, were both involved in Thursday's session at Cobham. That's huge. So there, in other words, it's still actually Thursday from here in Pennsylvania. They were both involved in the training session, unlike some of the other players like Malo Gusto was not. So that does give you hope that they're still in contention to play on Saturday. We'll see some more stuff coming out as Friday moves forward. And maybe this will be dated when you see it. But as of now, it's looking like there's a chance that Reece and Cole can play. Because thankfully, apparently this says James took a blow to the hip, which we knew about. So it's kind of just a impermanent, right, temporary problem. And Palmer's issue was with his thigh. I don't know if that means it's different than the groin or if it's similar. I don't know if it's, I feel like maybe we'd actually rather it be different, right, than a recurring thing. So nonetheless, they have a chance. Malo Gusto sounds like he's a doubt, probably not coming back for this game. And then Delap and Gittins are actually both being kept at their houses right now. They're not even coming to training because they don't want them to get other people sick, which obviously makes sense. So, and then of course, Moises Caicedo will be back because he was merely suspended for that FA Cup match from a yellow card accumulation. So anyway, guys, what are we talking about here? There's some good news there. right? Squad update for this game against Brentford, which every game in the Premier League is big from now on, right? We are currently in 8th, which means every match is a title-winning match. And what I mean by that is every match has 3 points on the line, which we need. The gap between us and top place Arsenal is horrifying to behold. Let me put it that way. So, some good news. Cole and Reece could be back. Liam and Jamie, unfortunately, will not be. So that means we're going to see some differences. I don't think Jamie would start nonetheless, but I would have had Delap starting. So speaking of starters, let's build this lineup together and talk through it before we predict our final score. All right, guys, so you see my lineup here. Let's just hop through this real fast so we can continue on our merry way. Rob Sanchez in between the pipes. He's had a great season. He showed us on Arsenal why we have our reservations about him being a long-term solution for us, right? He made an amazing save that Mikel Merino probably any other day would have scored. However, there were 2 other opportunities I think were his fault. I heard some people saying, oh, the first goal, somebody was in his way. Yeah, people are always in your way in corner kicks. That's how it's done nowadays. He needs to either claim that or stay put, and either way, that goal is not going in. It was a soft header. And then, of course, the second goal, he had both hands on it and just bled through. So, horrible game against Arsenal, but we would be foolish to say, oh, you had one bad game, you're done. No, he continues to start. Of course he does. Maybe some of you guys disagree, but that's my opinion. Right back, I have Reece James. I am interested to see how Liam Rosenior is going to choose to use him and deploy him. I don't really know. I have him there because I have loved what I've seen from the kind of midfield trio with our 2 all-stars in Enzo and Moises, but then also Andre getting in there. So I want Reece in there in order to allow a little bit more room in that midfield. In the center back pairing, when healthy, I think this is our best pairing, which is Wesley Fofana and Trev Chalobah. They're going to have their hands full with Igor. So they're going to have to work together. They're going to have to communicate. They're going to have to, I know both of them like taking a dribble up the field every now and again. They're going to have to both match that with their capability of keeping an eye on Igor. Left back, we got Cuckoo. And then, like I hinted at earlier, the midfield kind of trio, right? The front one being more advanced, obviously, but we have Moises and Andre, extremely athletic, extremely dynamic midfield there. And then Enzo kind of moving up more to the top and crashing the box more on the left side, right? And with goal scoring opportunities, which he's been loving lately. And then I'm going to reward 2 wingers, right? I'm going to go on a merit basis here. I love Pedro Neto. You guys can look at the receipts. I love him. This isn't a punishment. This is simply a reward for the players that deserve it. I think Garnacho, 1, he didn't start against Arsenal, so it's not a repeat start. And 2, he scored 2 immensely important goals. And I think you reward him for that. He has to be rewarded, in my opinion. And then Estevao, apart from Garnacho, was our best attacking player. He was actually the most effective attacking player, at least dangerous attacking player across both teams. He had, I think it was 80% completed dribbles and 4 shots on target, which was more than any other player. So he starts again for me. And then up top, I have Mark Yu. Some people might disagree. You might put Joao Pedro up there. The reason I put Mark up there is because, 1, we still need quality coming off of the bench at some point in the day. So they're going to get minutes. And why I have Mark there is because the importance of a intense press is vital to me. And Joao Pedro, at least from any position, but especially from the 9 where you need some pressing on those center backs when they're doing distribution from the goalkeeper to center backs to the fullbacks, Joao Pedro offers no press. Mark Yu offers arguably the best press. I'm going to continue to play him until Liam is an option, but I wouldn't be surprised if Joao was there. You guys might say Joao needs to be there. I'm putting Mark there for now. The only other obvious outlier that you guys are probably surprised by is I don't have Cole starting. The reason for that is because this is a mix of both preferred and realistic. And for me, for the fact that they're being very conservative, right, with his injuries, rightfully so, and he's kind of a question mark still, I really doubt that he'll start this match. Maybe he'll get some minutes off the bench. I hope so. I hope he can get a good 30 minutes or more, but I don't think he'll start. The reason I've restarting is because his, I don't think, was a muscular issue. It seemed to be some kind of maybe contusion or bruise or something along that line, which is not as concerning. So that's my lineup. And now that we've built our lineup, guys, my match score prediction. I'm going to be positive here because I think we have good reason to be positive. Some of you might think we have good reason to be negative. Maybe that's true, right? We're having a protest before this match. We have a new coach who has limited experience. We have a beat up squad that are both sick and, stuck at home, having a bad time, and also people getting injuries out the wazoo. Well, let me say this. We're dangerous in attack. We proved that against Arsenal. We've proved that throughout the year. I think we have a healthier defense than we have for most of the year with this back four. I think we have good reason to think we can get a good result against Brentford, and I think we're going to get one. I think it's going to be a 3-1 victory. So guys, that's going to do it for my video today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, like it, subscribe, continue to share it with your buddies. If you like my content, it's just a goal of being laid back and enjoyable Chelsea content, enjoying it together. So guys, enjoy the game this weekend, and I'll see you next time.